Fellow Vincentians and residents, I greet you at the start of the new year 2016 with love, faith, and hopefulness amidst the challenges of life, living, work, and production. The opening days of a new year always prompt reflections as individuals, families, and for our society as a whole. Invariably, we consider in one seamless process our past, particularly our immediate past, our present, and our future. We thank Almighty God for His abundant blessings, especially the gift of life. And we reflect on our strengths and possibilities, our weaknesses and limitations. And we pledge to do better, to be the best we can, as individuals, as families, as communities, and as a society, as a nation. We realize that ahead of us are challenges, some known and some not yet known. But we resolve to meet successfully whatever challenges with God's grace and in communion with each other. So for the year 2016, I urge that we adopt a positive attitude to our lives and living, that we discard negativism and any sense of hopelessness or helplessness. We have a lot that is going good for us, and a better harvest is ahead. But we must embrace new and better attitudes to life, living, work, and production. Each of us has a positive role to play. In the aftermath of the general elections, there has been for some an unsettling and disturbing period. For me, and indeed for the overwhelming majority of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the elections are over. The Unity Labour Party has won, and we must get on, all of us, with our lives and with the efforts of building better lives for ourselves and a better country. In respect of those for whom dissatisfaction is their permanent lot and disruption their permanent tactic, I urge them to reconsider their part of folly and join the rest of us in meaningful nation building. I assure everyone, though, that a recalcitrant minority will never be able to divert a determined people and their government from the path of peace, orderliness, progress, and prosperity. More specifically, no one will be permitted to trample upon law and order under the guise of an infantile and wholly unpopular political protest of absolutely no merit. Before the end of January 2016, our government will present and secure passage of the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 2016. Sometime thereafter, within the prescribed legal time frame, the appropriation bill, otherwise known as the annual budget, will be passed by the Parliament. The estimates and appropriation bill will be grounded in prudence and enterprise. It is necessary and desirable that we be prudent in our spending, manage efficaciously our fiscal deficit and public debt, secure further financial stability, ensure economic growth through public and private enterprise, enhance wealth and prosperity, create more jobs, reduce poverty and hunger, strengthen the social safety net for the vulnerable, stimulate sustainable development overall, and further improve public administration and good governance. Centrally, therefore, in 2016, we must direct our efforts primarily to growing the economy and ensuring the creation of more jobs for the people. During the recent general elections campaign, I emphasized all these matters and more for our agenda up to 2020 and beyond. Specifically, I highlighted a number of initiatives, including the completion of the Argyle International Airport and the startup of its operations, the delivery of geothermal energy for the generation of electricity by the end of 2018, the completion and operation of the modern medical complex at Georgetown, and the 2 polyclinics at Mespo and Bookament respectively, the completion of the renovative works at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital and the Mental Health Center, the rolling out in the second half of 2016 a comprehensive road repair and rehabilitation program on secondary roads and feeder roads, the further elaboration of plans to build a modern city at Annesvale, including the modern acute referral hospital and the modern cruise ship pier, the push for the building of a modern port in the area of Bottomtown in Kingstown, the cleaning up and upgrading of the city of Kingstown, the rolling out of significant private investment, local and foreign, in tourism development, including at Petit St. Vincent, Palm Island, Union Island, Myro, Canoan, Beckway, and Mount Twin Peters Hope, and the rolling out of further private sector investment, local and foreign, in manufacturing, agriculture, fisheries, the 4 medical schools, financial services, and housing construction. Meanwhile, a bundle of sensible public policies which touch and concern the upliftment of the people will continue apace in diverse areas such as education, health and wellness, sports and culture, cultural industries, climate change and the public health environment, telecommunications, water and electricity, poverty reduction and the push to zero hunger, women and men at risk, the elderly and the children, the youths, and persons resident in isolated geographic areas. Achievements in all these public policies rest on the foundation of the maintenance of law and order and a well-functioning independent judicial system. So a lot of work is ahead of us. Every person has an important contribution to make. I encourage workers, supervisors, and managers in the public sector and in private businesses to work together for the good of the enterprises and for themselves. Too often, some workers treat their employers as persons against whom hostilities and anti-business activities, including sabotage, are to be waged. Some workers, albeit a minority, are deliberately unproductive and lazy. We must speak the truth on these matters. We must also say truthfully that too often also, some managers or owners of enterprises treat workers disrespectfully and with disdain. We cannot properly develop our enterprises and our nation with these terrible managerial or worker attitudes at our places of work. In the year 2016, we all must redouble our efforts to engender better and more productive attitudes to work and management. We should promote the enhancement in attitudes to work and production as a national crusade. This is something which radio and television should promote. Customers and persons whom we serve in the public and private sectors pay the bills. Employees and employers must never forget this and improve the quality of our service delivery. Rudeness, laziness, and don't care attitudes must be avoided. Let us try to do much better in these respects and others in 2016. It does not take much effort for us to improve. We just have to want to improve in these areas. Our workplaces should not be war zones. We must make every effort to make our workplaces enjoyable, safe, and more productive. In 2016, we must do better on the roads. There's too much careless and reckless driving. Everybody knows that. Everybody is commenting on it. The motor vehicle is fast becoming a dangerous weapon. In 2015, 25 persons died in road accidents and dozens more suffered injuries, in some cases serious injuries. Surely, all of this is unacceptable. It is true that the police must better enforce the traffic laws, but drivers of motor vehicles have an overriding obligation to drive with due consideration for other road users. In 2016, our government will embark upon a focused national conversation on this matter with a view to implementing appropriate changes. We must be very serious on this issue. It has become one of life and death. Similarly, our government intends to build upon its existing efforts to stamp out violent crime, including gun crimes, and theft of farmers' produce and animals. Further appropriate measures will shortly be announced. Hardworking farmers deserve more protection from the ravages of these unconscionable persons who want to reap that which they do not sow, and homeowners must feel safer from burglars. I come now to a sore point for the government and those diligent citizens and residents who pay their taxes. It is this: too many of the taxpayers, including large and medium-sized taxpayers, simply do not pay their taxes as required under the law. Some $200 million are owed in arrears of taxes of all categories, plus the interest and penalties. Some big businesses, including a few with significant cross-border trading, do not pay all of their due taxes. Own-account businesses, including professionals, are notorious in not paying their fair share of taxes. In all of this, too, it is to be noted that the compliance rate for VAT is falling. A significant number of property owners, including in certain geographical areas, are not paying their property taxes. And many owners of motor vehicles are not paying their motor vehicle licenses. These are also driving their vehicles uninsured. I am publicly urging the offending citizens and residents to make satisfactory arrangements with the tax authorities, to pay up their arrears in taxes and to keep current with their tax obligations. I'm also demanding of the tax authorities to administer the tax laws with fairness and firmness. It is simply unfair that some persons get away with not paying their due taxes, while others have to carry the tax burden. Further, the government cannot properly execute its necessary and desirable programs if taxes are not being paid by so many persons. A similar complaint is being made about employers who do not pay over to the National Insurance Services their own NIS contributions and those which they have deducted from their employees' salaries or wages. The NIS ought to get tough on such recalcitrant employers. There are enough challenges and difficulties facing our small country for us to be making our lives more problematic with unproductive labor and management, mayhem on the roads, violent crimes, burglaries, theft of farmers' commodities, and non-payment of due taxes and NIS contributions. The challenges from the global economy, the fallout from the international terrorism, and destructive disasters are adding to the existing limitations of a small island developing country with its scarcity of material resources and its abundant vulnerabilities. These external challenges we must meet successfully, but we make things more difficult for ourselves when we pile on internally induced problems which we can easily avoid. But we have it within ourselves to leverage our strengths and possibilities, including our bountiful seascape and landscape, and our people's resilience and creativity to do better. So let us be grateful for our blessings and work in concert with each other to uplift our lives, living and production. Let us renew our quest to improve our conditions of life and living in these challenging times. With faith, hope, love, and productive labor, we will succeed. In this mighty venture, government at all levels must lift its game markedly. So too must our citizens and residents. Each of us must daily pose this query. Ask not what St. Vincent and the Grenadines can do for you. Ask what you can do for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And having asked that question, then do something productive and positive for ourselves, for yourself individually, and for our country. On behalf of the government, of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and on my own behalf, I wish everyone a successful, productive, and uplifting New Year 2016. Thank you.